So when it comes to networking, if someone says, I want to learn from you because you make it look easy, what are some of your favorite hacks to teach?
You must come with the spirit of contributing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs something. Even the president needs something, and you can pour into any human. So my general ethos is around connect with humans, engage them, but most importantly, contribute to their success.
I hope you're ready for the Festival of Entrepreneurship. I'm hosting today a very special guest, a man that I've seen doing networking like never before. Dr. Lives Good, the one and only. I'm actually curious about the name. Where does Dr. Lives Good come from? That is not a name it's a name I heard and thought, how?
I got it from my hair salon days when I was
Is that old?
when I was still a hairstylist, early 2000s.
So, because I've seen you do networking and bring into the room entrepreneurs that have made over 100 million.
Yeah.
I always wonder how you move and how you got started.
Yeah.
I guess this is going to be a masterclass even for me. It's one that I've been really looking forward to. But, how did you get started?
It's a tricky one. I mean, I come from down the road there in Hillbrow.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up in the 90s. I always call Hillbrow the only 24-hour African city because we take shifts to sleep. There's people who sleep at night, there's people who work at night. And you would find that there's like 12 people in a bachelor flat.
Ooh.
And the 6 that are working at night will only come in during the day. So everybody takes shifts to sleep. I saw that concept there. It's the most interesting place on earth. Yeah.
I'm hoping, listening to you, this is something you saw, not something you were part of.
Well, life is full of surprises.
Okay. Is this where the entrepreneurship bug caught you?
Yeah, I think a lot of us find ourselves in this thing called entrepreneurship, not knowing that it's that because of survival, because we have to make a living. And for me, I'm a firstborn at home. So my parents took me to an expensive school, and I only got to find out when I finished school that we're owing fees from grade 8.
Whoa.
And we're the first batch of kids to get in there. In the 90s, like first batch of black kids. I went to JP Boys High. So, yeah, for all my sins, at least I got the English. Yeah. That's something. It's a currency. It pays.
It does pay, eh? And it's gotten into rooms.
Yeah,
important rooms.
Yeah, for somebody who doesn't know much, it has helped me get around a lot. And it's partly because of my dad. My dad was a pastor. We were not allowed to go out, so I found myself reading a lot. And he had a bunch of books, especially self-help books, your Tony Robbins, those type of guys.
Oh, yeah.
And then outside of those books, it was always the Bible. So we read the Bible in probably 7-8 different languages at home.
Yo.
English, the English version alone, we had the King James, the old King James, the new American Standard.
Multiple languages, multiple versions.
The New English Standard. All of those, the intention for him was, what is your interpretation of each? What are they actually trying to say? And we found the same in isiZulu. We read three versions of isiZulu Bible. We read 2 Sesotho versions. Never understood half the time what we were reading. But the man had an audience in us because we had no choice, So he'd preach for hours and we'd pray for hours. So I guess that's where one got to have their vocal abilities to be able to stand in front of people. Maybe it was practice ground.
I get the school giving you the English, and I guess the confidence to float around in high circles.
Yeah.
What did this upbringing do to you? What kind of man do you think it built?
A resilient man, a man who can survive and thrive in any environment, a self-assured man. And I guess that's credit to my dad. He was a very strict man. He beat me up a lot. It's the sense of being a firstborn. Trauma.
I'm a firstborn too, believe me, I know.
Oh. So a lot of errors there, trial and error in how one was raised. But he instilled a lot of discipline in me. And also not to be taken by the world. All around, we grew up in Hillbrow. In Hillbrow, life is very fast. There were literally deaths outside of our flat. We lived on Soper Road, one of the most dangerous streets in Hillbrow. There was a prostitution house next door to us. And next door to the prostitution house was a gangster house. And it was gangsters from all over the different townships. So seeing a dead body outside was nothing. And my mom was a nurse. So my dad would have to take my mom every morning to work, to take her to the taxis, right? So we saw a lot of that. And I think an environment like that shapes you in one way or the other. And the gift and the curse of being a firstborn is you're either going to come out super focused, or you're going to be the flop of the family. So I think I was very fortunate that with all of the rebellion that I had in my formative years, I didn't turn out so bad, just in terms of discipline and self-actualization. And that's credit to my dad. I was raised by that man. Yeah.
When you look at people going through that, people growing up in an environment like that, that's challenging and that's not empowered. What advice do you have? What pops through your mind if you had an opportunity to speak to them?
Well, for starters, we're all black. More than 80% of this country is black. A lot of us have a poverty story. So yours and mine are not different. So get over the pity party. And people take that the wrong way when I say that, but it's because I've been there. So you can't tell me anything. I can tell you what it feels like to not have food. I can tell you what it feels like to be in a family of 5 and be the last to sleep because we had to rearrange the room because we lived in it was not even a bachelor flat, it was a studio for a family of 5, and our parents had to divide this room with wardrobes for privacy. So I can tell you about poverty. I can tell you about being kicked out of our flat, moving from flat to flat, having nowhere to stay because we couldn't afford the rent. I can tell you about being a laughing stock at church. I can tell you about being the cleaner at church because we're poor, So there's categorization even in the Lord's house, So I can tell you about being a laughing stock, and then I can tell you about how to rise through that. Not because I believe that we all have the same yardstick, but there's commonalities. So let's get over that part so that we can get to the real work. And the real work must be done, whether we like it or not. Yeah.
What does the work look like if I decide I heard you and your message landed? I think I want to get started on that journey.
You find the right tribe. I think that's where you start because our environment shapes us. The only thing I ever wanted to do in growing up in Hillbrow, I wanted to live in the burbs.
Oh, yeah.
That was my dream. When we finally got our first house, it was in Bertram's. It didn't have sanitation, didn't have lights, but we had our own house for the first time in our lives, And being in that little room, because I stayed on the outside room, just gave me this sense of freedom. But I knew because of the school that I went to, Jeppy Boys. I went to school with Abo Cheese Boy.
Yeah, I know.
The 90s era of black kids entering multiracial schools. It was politicians' kids in there, comrades' kids, and I was coming from Hillbrow. So I was hiding my lunch because I was feeling ashamed. And that's part of what sparked the entrepreneurial bug, because I had to sell something so that I don't have
You
to be
could have
embarrassed every
decent
day,
lunch.
you know? Yeah. And
Did they know though?
Of course they didn't know. My dad would have beat the living. Oh, who
The guys,
at school?
where you coming from? Yeah.
Oh no, I lied. I said I was from Q. Q sounded like a place, because when you take a bus to Hillbrow, instead of taking the bus that's written Hillbrow, I could take the bus that says Q. It's still passed at the same place in
It is,
Hillbrow.
yeah.
So I could get off in Hillbrow.
Also, anyone who sees you will see that you're coming from.
No, Selebogo lives in Q. They only got to find out when I left school that, oh, no wonder you were so thuggish. That's what they said.
I think I'm getting caught up in the story of how. So, where does Dr. Life's Good come in this journey?
Yeah, so when I got out of school, my aspiration, my dreams, I passed well in school. I was meant to go to varsity, and then I met reality that actually there's no money, and we owe high school fees, so had to get straight to work. And also we had to make a decision between me sacrificing for me or my siblings also getting the chance to go to good schools for high school. So I was just like, you know what, let them get a better opportunity. And that was that. So I got straight into the informal sector. One of my early jobs was being in a hair salon. And one of the things that I got to learn about myself was that I was a good listener. Because as I was being taught how to do hair, I was doing hair on women mostly. And women want to talk. And I was listening. I wouldn't comment much, but I would give that nod, And as I was doing that, it was the hairstyling sessions turned into therapy sessions. And it actually helped me build empathy. And it made me the number one salesperson in the salon. Even though I wasn't the best hairstylist. I knew the fundamentals and the basics. So if you were doing your relaxer with me, whether it's soft and lovely or whatever, I would make sure that my customers got the best product, check their skull. I would do the basics, the fundamentals really well. And because of that, they just thought I had a Midas touch. They thought if Lebu touches you, your scalp doesn't burn. Meanwhile, the other guys were cheating. So they would take a Dark and Lovely can and put a soft and free relaxer in
inside
there, and then take the mixer from Dark and Lovely and put it in there and mix, so it looks like Dark and Lovely, which is a more expensive product.
That's scary.
But customers were burning, so I refused to do that. I just refused. I was like, I'm not doing that. You do you, I'm not doing that. So customers started gravitating more towards me. And I also learned about presentation. I used to be the clean one. I looked proper and presentable. I saw that the ladies were preferring
the high school fees was paying through.
You know what I mean? So it was one of those. And through that process, one of the people that I met, her name is Lucia. She named me Dr. Life's Good.
Oh.
She was like, oh, Dr. man, like, oh, my man. And it was a joke for a while, And then I started the business, called it Life's Good, because the housemate that I had at the time, she loved the brand LG, Life's Good Electronics. So we'd always used to say, Life's Good, And then it stuck. And then one day, Lucia, crystallized it. She was like, you're Dr. Life's Good. And then it just stuck with me.
And here we are now. All right. So when it comes to networking, if someone says, I want to learn from you because you make it look easy, what are some of your favorite hacks to teach?
I actually struggle with networking. I'm one of the first people to leave networking events because of my social anxiety. I grew up a loner, and I still am in more ways than people can imagine. I've just learned to mask it and to know that if I don't do it well, I'm going to go hungry, and my daughters are not going to live the life that I've envisioned for them. So I force myself.
You force yourself?
I force myself every time.
Doesn't look like it.
But that's the hack. You must do the hard things all the time so that you can live the life that you really want to live, So networking is not a favorite. It's not something that I actively go out of my way to do. but I know that I need to do it to meet new people, to be connected into certain spaces. So I created networking platforms because I had an idea of what I believe networking should look like versus what I experienced at other people's networking events. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite platforms is Heavy Chefs. And Fred and Louis have been around more than me. They built a digital marketing business and sold it for millions, and they were doing really well, and I've always loved them. So I used to attend Heavy Chef events. 98% white people there in my days. This is before the days of the hookup dinner.
Okay.
And it was the toughest thing to network with white people because I just didn't know what to say. And maybe one or two would approach me, and it would always be small talk. And I hate small talk. I've always hated I don't know how to do small talk. So if we're not going to talk about something that is tangible, I don't want to talk.
Okay.
Leave me alone. So that's why I leave early. But one thing that I learned out of the Heavy Chef events, they were focused on educating their communities on particular opportunities in the space. So I took the best of what I got from them and went on to start the hookup dinner out of that in 2012. And we ran for about 10 years, just purely out of one core thing, that we enabled people to take off the mask. If I ask you how you're doing, you don't have to say I'm okay.
Okay.
You can say what's really on your mind. And I guess it was an idea whose time had come because it created a very safe space for people to relax and not have to pretend. And out of that, because a lot of authenticity was born out of that, it enabled us to attract our tribe, people like us who were awkward, socially awkward, the outcasts, the people who felt some type of way being in certain spaces. All of a sudden they had a home, right? So I try to create that home for other people. Even when I'm attending other people's networking events, I try to be the home. So if somebody approaches me and I can see that they're feeling awkward about it, I actively switch. So it's like code switching. I switch into, because I know that, okay, I have to make extra effort for myself. I actively switch into being an empathetic person and almost being a soft landing for them to make sure that they can come out and be open. And then if I can see that they're still awkward in what they're saying, then I get into the role of mentor quite quickly. I'm like, this is how you approach somebody like me next time.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do you get past the anxiety of speaking to someone who has a high profile, much higher profile than you?
Knowledge always helps a lot. So I try hard not to talk about things I do not know, and I try not to pretend I know things I don't know. And that has helped me a lot. And then I research my subject matter, as in also the people that I would like to connect with. I really research. I go onto social media whilst they're here at the event, checking them out. Okay, this is what you do. This is what you last posted on LinkedIn. Okay.
Or you do that in the networking?
In real time. It's very important. Otherwise, the context will be off. And I check on different platforms because we're different people on different platforms. So on Instagram, it's more a look at me platform. So I try and see on your lifestyle side, who are you? On Facebook, we're in the village, like there we are more authentic. It's like the family gathering where the uncle, the drunk uncle, the pastor, father, everybody's there. It doesn't matter who you are. Rich and poor, we're equal. So I look at how you behave on a platform like Facebook, and then I'll go to your X if you have X, and I'll check what type of current affairs commentary you have, what you've been speaking about. And what I'm trying to find is the commonality with what are my interests. And there are things that you can talk on, but I don't like talking too much current affairs if I'm not well versed, right? I'll check if you have any commentary around entrepreneurship or skills development. Why? Because those are common things that we all have to play a role in South Africa. We've got the highest Gini coefficient in the world, which drives inequality. We've got the highest youth unemployment and unemployment in general. And we've got the highest poverty gap in this country.
We're sad states.
We're an anomaly. Having said that, the ones who earn well really earn well. But even they're not safe. So we've got an interesting black middle class. It's the type of middle class that if you took their salary away for 3 months, they shoot
They
back
sink.
into poverty immediately. There's no social security. So I know how to tap into those issues with the wannabes who put up this posture or this facade of having made it. I know how to crack through that because, I engage people every day. And I see the people who come to me to ask for money as an entrepreneur, and they are working. So that has given me, and I guess we can credit that to experience. Right? So I see through that and I'm like, okay, I know that we all have a facade. How do you crack through that? I've checked you out on the various platforms. I can see what topics you really like engaging in. And if they match with some of the topics I like engaging in, I'll try and meet you at your point of need around one or two topics where there can be commonality. Yeah,
So the research gives you context.
that's very important.
Do you think one of the reasons why maybe someone will be scared to speak to someone with a high profile
Yeah,
is they think in their heads that person is used to people coming because they want something,
yeah,
and the minute I greet them, they are assuming I also want
Yeah.
something. That's why I'm there.
yeah. Well,
It's something that can play in your
yeah.
head.
Absolutely. I mean, they always say net the approach. So it's something that I always preach in all the platforms that I create. You must come with the spirit of contributing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs something. Even the president needs something, and you can pour into any human. So my general ethos is around connect with humans, engage them, but most importantly, contribute to their success. If you find a rich man who has everything and they need nothing, there's something they care about. If you look through their nonprofit projects, you'll find that they care about cats.
Yeah, you can find them.
Yeah. Loose cats that are on the streets, they just care that cats should not be on the street. But there's humans who are homeless. That's not something that really touches them. But these cats being everywhere on the streets really just hurts them because they have a special connection with their cat. So connect around that topic, and aim to contribute from a genuine place. So you don't come in as a taker. You don't have the posture of a taker. You don't come in with the posture of wanting anything. Everything is built on relationships. The average person that I do business with, I probably get that business after 5 years sometimes.
Yo.
So it's a long play, and I never build relationships in the short term. I don't do short-term plays. They just don't help. But if I'm building long-term plays, even if we haven't spoken in 2 years, when I pick up the phone and call you, it's warmly received because you genuinely know that I'm not a taker. You know that this is a person who actually contributes, So it's hard to say no to me if I'm asking for something because you know where my heart lies. So building on those fundamentals is absolutely important. And I learned this from a gentleman that I consider a mentor. He's now a professor, Professor Bonang Mohale. Yeah, his full name, Professor Francis Bonang Mohale. He used to be my boss, not direct boss, but he used to be my CEO in my corporate days at a company called Drake and Skull. This was between the years 2004 and 2009. So we got in around the same time into the company, and he shook things up. He was a transformation guy. He brought in BEE deals. We were the most transformed company in South Africa. The culture was, upwardly mobile. This is a guy who greeted the cleaner, the security guy, and the CEO, or rather let me say an executives in the same way, same respect. And he knew our names. He caught me, man. He said something that was quite interesting. He always said, you must keep your heart on people and your head on numbers.
Yo.
He said this back in 2004, 2005, all the way until he left in 2009 when he went to Shell to become chairman there. And that thing stayed with me, And, we all have our heroes. He's one of my heroes because he had 2 daughters, and I've got 2 daughters now,
Yeah.
So I try and model certain things according to the principles that I really like. It's like the books that we read and then the humans around us that we see, and we're like, ooh, I like this about you. Like with my dad, I really like that he's a family man and he dedicated his life to us. So I like that part about him, not everything. So even with this gentleman that I consider a mentor, I liked
There are
that part
parts
about
that you like.
There's parts where I look at him talking on platforms and
Okay, not
you know.
not that one.
Yeah, so I think that's important because it gives one context around how to approach powerful people.
You find the commonalities.
Yeah,
And the part that
Yeah.
you can connect with.
yeah,
Do you think this is why networking doesn't work for many people? The short-term, long-term plays that
Yeah.
a lot of people come and they want the result now, they want the connection and the contract
yeah. I mean,
now.
I like making the example about ukushela. If you're really interested in a lady, there's absolutely no way as a in one taking. You go on a couple of dates, even before the date. There's you're making moves, and she's rejecting your advances, not because she doesn't want you, but she's really sussing you out. Are you for real or not? It's the same in business. It's nothing different. It's humans. Humans want to be courted. Humans need to create barriers for themselves in order to protect their social currency and their space. And they need to be sure that you're not here to destroy, So it's a natural progression. It's a natural thing for that to happen. It takes a long time. And that's why sometimes breakups are so painful, because you've built over a long period of time building the relationship, and then all of a sudden when it goes pear-shaped, it's just like, do you know how much effort I've put into this? You know what I mean? So in business, for me, it feels like it's the same thing. The clients that I'm doing business with now, people that are calling me now, this is one of my busiest years since I've been back in the public domain. The people who are calling me and giving me business are people that we last had a conversation 3-4 years ago, and there's no vetting. We're getting straight to business. They're like, Lebo, we've got this. Are you in? I'm like, yeah, sure, for you, anything. Then we get to the admin, hand over the admin to the administrators, but we're done. Why? Because the relationship is established. It's solid. It's on the right foundation. It's based on contributing to each other's success. Yeah.
I love it. When you look at your journey with enterprise development, what's in your heart? What message do you have for entrepreneurs? Because you said you're not a big business guy, you're a small business guy. Your heart is there.
Yeah, I'm the fire starter, right, in the ecosystem.
Yeah,
I'm the one who gets guys started, polished, and shaped into a particular way so that they can fit into the rest of the ecosystem partners above. So you can call me the primary school of entrepreneurship. I'm where they land to find their feet. And in understanding that, there's a lot of teething issues that we all go through when we are starting on our journeys. The quicker you can get over your ego is the faster you can progress. A lot of us, and sometimes it's due to age. I'm 45 now, so I've got a very different perspective to what I had just 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Things I used to feel really strongly about 5 years ago, I don't anymore. I realize that it's feeble. I realize there's certain battles you should not fight. But experience is the teacher. It's the greatest teacher. It calms you down. And that's why war is for young men, not for old men. Old men want peace because they know the cost of war. They know the damage it causes. They know how long it takes to
recover.
You know what I mean? So when I look at a lot of the entrepreneurs in the space and people starting out, it's just like, just be grounded. I think it starts there. Get into any space with humility. It does not matter the amount of skill that you have, the talent that you have. It means nothing if you are not grounded. Because if you're not grounded, your ego will drive you, and you will crash, because business is a sport of seasons. There's a season of loss. The question is, can your season of loss carry you through onto the next season that must come? Just like we've got 4 seasons in any year, it's the same in business. And a lot of the time, entrepreneurs will crash and not be able to recover easily, because in their season of plenty, their ego was driving them. And there's something for all of us to learn about that. Like, how do you build? How do you go deep and not go wide? Don't be trying don't try and be a jack of all trades. That is for large companies. For the small guys, focus on the things that really matter. Care about your customers and respect them. Honor your customers, honor your stakeholders, because they will carry you through some of the deepest wounds. They will get you onto the other side where you really need to get to. And they will do that with empathy, because you chose to respect them. You chose to care about them. You chose to be purpose-driven about what you're doing. So that is just something that I feel really strongly about now more than ever. Playing the role of big brother to a lot of the guys that have come through the years. Proud of a lot of them. Also sad because I've buried a few. Suicide has been a big theme that I've seen with some of the entrepreneurs. I mean, I buried one just a couple of weeks ago out in the Eastern Cape. And yeah, you realize over time that there's just certain things that are not worth it. Find your tribe, be grounded, be skilled in what you're doing, and keep learning. Have a continuous learning spirit. And most importantly, build sustainable relationships. They are going to help you in a lot of things.
That one was always coming from you. If you look at the story you're telling now of what entrepreneurs should be doing and the rate at which a lot of small businesses stay small, some fail completely.
Yes.
But there are many that started, they get to, let's say, 100K per year and stay there for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
What do you think keeps so many trapped in very low income thresholds?
I think we tend to make the error, it's the Americanization of things. And it comes from Silicon Valley. Not every business is meant to scale.
Not every business is meant to get to the 10 million.
Not every entrepreneur is meant to build a high growth business. That's a stressful thing to do. The life of entrepreneurship is like chewing glass.
Yeah.
So if your aspiration is to build something that feeds you and your family and take care of you and takes you on holiday twice a year,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Because sometimes it's also not worth the stress of loss that you will encounter. As much as there's the highs, I mean, we've built 100 million rand businesses. They've crashed. We know what that feels like. We know the stress of every day.
100 crashed.
Yeah. So it's these we know what that feels like. We know what it means. We know what's at stake. Your name goes. You possibly get divorced. You're alienated from your own community. There's many things that you have to sacrifice sometimes. And it happens, right? So I think I want to start with that it's
an important take.
Yes.
There's people sometimes it's okay.
Yeah, it's almost like in the township. People are saying the township economy, we must help them scale. But you look at the Scotta business, you look at their lifestyle. But sharp.
They're happy.
Go to their Instagram. When you think Banuga Makota, go to their Instagram. They're in Mauritius. And then you want to tell this guy, move from the Scotta joint, open a supermarket. You're going to kill him. Because that's a different play.
Different systems.
Different everything. Different mindset. And different stress. Do I want it? Do I want to disrupt my family? There's many things that you have to consider. Like, I'll tell you, in this current phase of my life, my joy is taking my daughter to school every morning. That requires a different lifestyle than the one I lived 5 years ago. My daughter lives with me, the younger one. The older one is at varsity now. The younger one lives with me. So it's the two of us at home. That means I'm a primary caregiver. She's 10 years old. The way in how I'm crafting and shaping her for the future and how she's coming out, that's the thing that makes me happiest. When people ask me about happiness, it is seeing this little human develop in the way that she's developing and knowing that I think I'm healing through this.
Explain the healing through this part.
Because we have our own little traumas from how we grew up, and sometimes we try to fix that through how we raise our own kids. So, for instance, our parents believed in corporal punishment. We got beat up a lot, and we got beat up through anger, not through chastising, like raising a child. I've never laid a hands on my kids. And yet, when you look at how they've come out, you're like, oh, there are different systems. Or my belief system in that this should be different, this should be done in this way. It could work. So it's my theory of change says you can create a wholesome human who's respectful, who's ambitious, who does all the things that are required.
Without violence.
Without violence. It's possible. And here I am seeing it. It's happening in my own life. And that in itself, just me living my life in that way, is inspiring a lot of other young black fathers to do the same. In fact, a lot of gents who, after separating with the mothers of their children, and, you know, the ugly thing about separation is that adults, in their ego-driven nature, use the children as weapons. So they weaponize the children. So because we fight differently, you'll find that the gent then just pulls away, right? But a lot of gents are finding comfort, they're finding courage in reconnecting, in fighting for their kids and wanting to be actively involved in their kids' lives. And they're like, you make it so easy. We know that entrepreneurship is not easy. We know what you have gone through. But the way you know, and for me, that's why I'm saying, like, it's a healing process. It's just like we can live a different life. So in highlighting that, it means I'm making sacrifices elsewhere. I can't build a high growth business in this phase. And that's a decision.
Because you've shifted your priorities.
You know what I mean? So I've moved more into investing in other businesses where I don't have to be operator, and helping to shape the mindsets of those who are building for high growth, so that I don't have to carry that stress. But it means at a realistic level, I can't build a high growth business right now. I'm busy. I get booked a lot, but I must come back home.
I know that because I know we tried to get you on radio and it was clashing with your daughter, daddy daughter sessions, and you said, nah, as long as you don't touch those hours, we'll be good.
Yeah.
It gave me context to how you've structured your life and where your priorities are.
Yeah.
And I think when you say it's okay if your aspirations are the 100,000 per year or 200,000 per year, be okay with that if you're making that, and find a way to be happy with your life.
Yeah.
Because someone listening to you now will have context to it. Actually, now I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like, nah, you don't understand.
Yeah. The key question we've got to ask ourselves, at a macro level, we've got three key social ills that we've mentioned before. We said it's inequality, poverty, and unemployment.
Yeah.
And in that small business, is this being solved? Livelihoods are covered. Kids are going to school. Kids are graduating. And one or two families are being fed because we've got two to three employees. Is that sustainable? Is the history of this thing being sustainable? Yes. Leave that person alone. Ask them what they need. They will tell you what they need. Maybe they just need a credit facility to increase their stock count just a little bit more. They don't want too much because then they would need to have bigger premises. If they must have bigger premises, now they must go back to the municipality and apply for new permits. You know, like there's a new stress that they don't need. This thing works. Their business works.